Okay, cool. Back on topic. You still have a few words left on this experience so let's go through that.
So let me try to remember. Well, basically I expressed it pretty clearly, I thought.
Just very directly.
Yeah, very directly. I think I basically just said, it kind of hurt my feelings when I heard you referencing what I'm going through as a bummer or like a silliness, and that, like, first of all, just using that term bummer is like what happens to you, like what happens to me when I hear that I'm a bummer is probably something similar that happens to you when somebody calls you a victim. And it just doesn't help anything. And so I need to set the boundary around, like, don't use that word in reference to me or my parts. And also that just standing up for my parts a little bit. There's a part that wanted to stand up for my other parts about, like, given everything that I've gone through, even regardless of being an Enneagram 3 or not, even regardless of that being my like survival strategy, given like the straight up brainwashing and gaslighting that my parts have been through, it makes a lot of sense why they can get so hung up on like knowing what is my truth and what isn't, why that's so important to them. And like, it makes so much sense. And it doesn't mean that it's, someplace that I'm going to get stuck in, but it's just a part of my process to get hung up on this stuff. Like, everybody has their thing that they get hung up on, and this is mine. And so just kind of standing up for my parts that like they are trying their best, and like I would love to request some more, what did I say, like request some more compassion from your parts or something, to be able to see my parts as like the whole story that they've been through, and that they're just here trying their best. They're not trying to be a bummer, they're not trying to be silly, like, because to them it matters so much. Did I say anything else?
I don't think you did.
Oh yeah, I also threw in the thing of like, because I think you said like, with healthy sevens, no bummers are allowed or something. And I had a part that was like, no, actually that's unhealthy sevens. I had a part that I really wanted to have the last word on that one.
Yeah.
So that's my story. Should I say like kind of the advanced part of this boundary setting, or do you want to tell your side of the story first?
No, let's get into the advanced settings.
Okay, the advanced settings. So
click the tab for advanced settings for Jordin James.
Yeah. So while I do think that I did a really good job being direct about my boundaries, I did a really good job of having a clear request and not necessarily like making you wrong for anything that you said, but just kind of speaking from a place of like what me and my parts need and requesting that. So it was like there was so much, like all of the boundary 101 stuff I did like pretty well. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm getting pretty good at this. But when you left, like I was kind of reflecting, when you left for work, I was reflecting on it, and I was like, oh god damn it, like I did it again, where I kind of closed off my heart to you. And I did it, and I spoke very directly and stuff, but it wasn't like very intimately that I held that conversation with you, because it was being expressed from a part of me that was like prepared for, or it was just still like kind of angry, still a little bit like amped up. And while it was a lot better than how I have expressed what I need and what's happening inside of me in those hard moments in the past, it was still withdrawn from you. And I was just thinking about how when I withdraw from you, like you have told me that when I withdraw from you, it's one of the most painful things that you experience in our relationship. And like you can withstand almost anything except me withdrawing. And so I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I'm glad that I communicated the way that I did, but I want to keep getting better and better at being able to like communicate those boundaries and communicate what I need and communicate if something has like hurt my feelings, but in a way that lets your parts know that I still love them, that I still see them, that I still like want them, that we are still in this together. Yeah, where I can kind of help my parts feel like I've got them in the way that I am communicating and advocating for their needs, but also like help your parts still feel like they're included in my heart. Yeah, or that I'm also like giving your parts the benefit of the doubt as well. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what I mean by advanced boundary setting, is being able to set the boundaries that our parts need with an open heart, within intimacy, where we don't actually have to step outside of intimacy to set a boundary.
Yeah, because I'm reminded of a thing that we just were re-exposed to. We re-listened to the book Nonviolent Communication, and there was a part in there where it's, well, how do you get people to respect your boundaries and all this kind of stuff? And part of it was like the difference between a request and a demand, and how like a demand, you know, kind of takes away the sovereignty of the person of like, they must do this thing, otherwise consequences, and how that disconnects you from each other, versus like a true honest request is something that should be expressed vulnerably, that helps connect you. And that's where boundary setting can get kind of tricky, where you need to click that advance button, because if you're reciting a list of demands that your partner must do, otherwise, oh, that does not breed connection. That really breeds a lot of disconnection and potentially resentment, or like just disregard.